Okay, my name is Dr. Binta Nawal Bagiwa. My course title is Communication Skills in Educational Management, which is EDM222. We are going to look at the concept of communication. As we all know, communication has its etymological roots in the Latin expression. So it's a Latin word, communicum, which refers to a commonest of act through participation, sharing, interaction, dialogue, or conference. It involves a transfer of exchange of ideas, feelings, views, messages, and issues. The concept of communication has in recent times received varied definitions from different scholars, and it is shown that it differs in perception. For example, communication has been defined by different scholars such as Bello, 1960, Mackey and Fitzer, 1980, and Warren, 1999. So let's look at that of Bello. Bello sees communication as the creation of meaning through the use of signals and symbols. It is not a static phenomenon. It is reviewed as a process. Then, communication, according to Warren, is an act of transmitting of information, ideas, and attitude from one person to another. Communication has several definitions and equally acceptable meanings. In turn, denotes both interaction and purposefulness. Today, the ideas of sharing is still the core of communication and definitions. Basically, communication is defined as the transfer of information, feelings, or messages from one person to the other. In other words, it is the process of transmitting meaning from sender to receiver. We have different definitions of communication, as I mentioned earlier. So now let's look at the purpose of communication. Communication have so many useful purposes in the organization or in a school system. For example, to persuade, to instruct, to direct, to request, to present, to serve as information input or exchange, to develop an understanding, to innovate, to assess outcomes, to socialize participants, to influence the performance of organizational members, to clarify and express feelings, to control. The importance of communication in an organization has been long recognized. When we look at the importance of communication in an organization, we can see that communication is the ingredient which makes organization possible. Without communication, you will not be an organization. The administrators, the management will not be able to function or carry out any meaningful function. They will not be able to direct. So, communication, they coordinate through communication and they staff and so on. So let's look at the communication process. When we talk about the communication process, the communication process takes place between the sender and the receiver, and it has to pass through a particular process. So we have what we call as the basic elements of communication, which are more than just the three mentioned in the simple model. There are a number of critical elements of communication. These are the sender, the encoder, the encoding, the message, the medium, the receiver, the feedback, the noise, and reaction. So let's look at the communication process. Number one, the idea. The first critical element of process in an idea through or impulse in the mind of the sender or the communication or the communicator. The intent of idea may not be sufficiently clear to be communicable to the receiver. Then the sender. Who is the sender? He is the source or the initiator of the communication. In an organization such as the school, the sender is a person with the needs, desires, ideas, intentions, informations, and purpose for communication. Encoding. This involves translating the sender's intent or ideas into a systematic set of symbols or gestures so that the receiver can understand what is being communicated. The major form of encoding. Then the message itself. This is the result of encoding process, which is the message. It is the physical form into which the sender encodes or expresses the information. This may take form in form of speech, written words, or gestures. Then the medium. This is the channel through which the message is carried. That is the carrier in the school. This may take the form of telephone, face-to-face communication, group meetings, memos, reports, and so on. Then the receiver. This is the recipient of the transmitted message. There may be several individuals receivers for any given message. Then the decoding. This is a technical term for the thought processes of the receiver in translating or interpreting what is heard or sensed. Receiver interprets, decode the message in light of their past experience and various personal frames of reference. In general, the more the receiver decoding matches the sender's intended message, the more effective the communication has been. Then the feedback.